Thanks to our friends at Surfshark for sponsoring today's video. See our exclusive deal by visiting the link in the description below. Get yourself award-winning VPN protection now.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today is another walk around, and as you can see by the title, you've probably impatiently clicked it and not seen that today I have the all-new Mustang Mach 1. Yes, the full-blown V8 muscle car. Yes. No, and it's not the Mach-E before you ask. And I'm going to try and use as less of that name as possible in today's video. Now, thanks to you guys for watching the Fiesta ST walk around of the facelifted car. I thought, you know what, I quite enjoyed doing that video. So whilst I've got this, it'd be rude not to take you around it. So yeah, I'm gonna put a disclaimer in and say I'm not the most technically abled person to start talking about a Mustang, because yeah, apart from having a few experiences here and there over my lifetime, I've not really been around these cars that much, but I can appreciate why these are so iconic for many reasons. So yeah, today's video is just going to be well, try to be brief anyway, but there is a lot to talk about with this car. There will also be a full review and a twin test video over on our new joint channel with me, myself and Aaron from Car Obsession, where we'll be doing a comparison against this and a TTRS, yes, an Audi TTRS, because believe it or not, they are priced very similar to each other. Yes, the Audi is a little bit more expensive, but that's because of options, and it's crazy to think that, because in some shape or form they are two different cars. They do things very differently, but because of the way pricing is at the minute, yeah, they've kind of put themselves into the same market. So yeah, I'm going to turn this camera around so you don't have to see me looking like Stevie Wonder with these glasses on, and I'll show you around the Mach 1. Oh, what a machine. Here she is, or he, however you want to see it as. It's a car, but a car for me has to have character and a personality, and this sure does. Not only does it look great, the colour is also very suited to this car. Now, the colour is called Fighter Jet Grey, and believe it or not, is the only colour that you can get where you can get the accents, all this vinyl detailing, and the orange calipers to suit too. Any other colour, you can't get this, and believe it or not, this is an optional extra, and it costs £1,400. Yes, probably a bit overkill for some stripes and some orange calipers and an orange trim in the seats. But yeah, that is the only option that you can get with this paintwork. Now, in true Ford fashion, there isn't actually that many options. Apart from the appearance pack, the wheels are an optional extra, and the seats, there's an optional extra for them too, the Recaros, which I will go on to a bit later when we go and see the interior. Now, of course, this is the new Ford Mustang Mach 1, as you can see by the plate. It's a 2022 car, and this is basically a revision or a successor to the standard GT, which you can still buy, believe it or not. And many people may think, well, hold on a minute, this is over 11 grand more than a standard GT car. What does it really warrant that price increase? And there's two sides to each story. I would agree with it, and I would also disagree with it, because the standard GT, although it isn't as precise, which we'll talk about in a bit, as this car, it's still a great valued car. I think the standard GT starts at £47,000, and when you compare that to other cars in its class, it's great value for money. But this sort of sits now with very strong competition, like the BMW M2, the TTRS, which I mentioned we'll be filming with soon, and even the Alpine A110S, which you'd argue is in its class of its own because of the technology and the way the thing weighs, and etc, etc, etc. So yeah, it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one, but as I will talk about more in the full review, mainly would I own one, I would and I wouldn't. Mainly I wouldn't, because I'm not ready for one. at my age. These cars are sort of not garage queens, but you need to respect to drive them at certain times. They give you the most thrills when you take them out for a weekend, especially with the fuel at this moment in time. I think fuel is about 175 a litre, so yeah, it's a pretty tricky time to own one of these cars. Now, despite that, I've enjoyed every moment of it, and the time I'm filming this is actually towards the end of my time with it. So I've been able to experience it, and I've driven it every day. So I've not really been the greatest advertisement to this car, because I've visited about 3 different fuel stations in the space of 2 or 3 days. Yes, it's been very expensive on my wallet, but it's not every day that you get to drive one of these bad boys. So really, that isn't the problem for me at the moment, because after this week the car goes back to Ford, and then it's their problem. They can cover all the fuel. But yeah, we've established the colour, which I love, by the way. There are some more vibrant colours, like they're purple, there's also green and another grey which is darker, and then you get the whites, the blacks, and race red, which is very weird. And race red's the only colour that isn't a cost. It's free. If you believe in a thing called free, I don't believe in it. There's nothing that is free in this world. But yeah, that's the colour choices. Now, to go back to the one of the original questions of the price and is it worth it over a standard GT, well, let's talk about some of the changes on the outside. Now, as you can see, it does look more aggressive than a standard GT. That's mainly thanks to some of the tributes from the original Mach 1. As you can see, the 2 fog lights, which are just basically circular holes in the grille. They don't actually do anything. It's just more of a styling piece, as opposed to an actual physical thing that you can do. I believe in the original cars you could actually have fog lights in there, but nowadays I don't think you can. Regulations probably don't allow it. You also get some aero tweaks as well. So as you can see, if I come up closer to the car, you get a big splitter which goes along the car. Of course, there are some things underneath the car that you can't see, like a flat floor under tray, again for aerodynamics. Again, you get some nice side skirts across the sides of the car, along with a nice little ducktail spoiler, which doesn't look that big on camera. Well, to me it don't, but it actually is quite cool. And then you get the big rear diffuser on the back of the car, accompanied by the very large quad tail exhaust pipes. And Ford say that over a standard GT, this actually gives you 25% more downforce, which is crazy. That is mental. It's quite a lot of difference. Now, back to the exhaust. Now, this has got an active exhaust system, which Ford like to call it. Now, I don't actually think it's got valves in it.
Yes, guys, hold fire on those keyboards. I am wrong, I will admit it. The car does have exhaust valves, and it was very hard to see, so that's my fault. But yeah, the Mustang does have valves, and of course you can control different sounds in terms of how loud you want the exhaust to be. Yeah, as I said, I was comparing it to a Tesla, which uses the technology as does the MSRT transit vans. They use a subwoofer to pump sound out of the car, because of course the Tesla's electric and the MSRT van is a diesel. But there is actually a subwoofer in the Mustang which does pump sound inside the cabin, so I was sort of right, so give me that.
Instead, it's got a subwoofer in the boot that controls the sound of what the exhaust sounds like. I may be wrong, but I'm just going off an educated guess. Now, it's got a cool little party trick. Of course, it sounds amazing at full chat and even at startup in the mornings. But if you've got some moany neighbours, which thankfully I don't, well, not yet anyway, this has a quiet mode. And yeah, I've experienced it a few times and actually does make a big difference. So even if you haven't got any neighbours and you live in a place like this, which is in the countryside, you can still turn it off whilst you're driving, and it does make the driving experience a little bit more bearable on a longer distance. But to be fair, the exhaust isn't that protrusive, if that's a word, inside the cabin. You can hear it more from the outside. So yeah, I don't actually think this has valves. You can correct me, I can't see. No, I don't think it does. I think it works like the exhaust you get on the diesel MSRT vans, which basically pump sound out. I think even Teslas do it. Yes, the Plaid, the Model S Plaid, I think it's called. That it's allowed to have sound that comes out, so you can sound like a V8 if you wanted to. A bit poncy if you ask me, but yeah, it's trying to make a market. It's trying to make a market for itself almost. Let's step into the interior. Excuse the GoPros, I've just finished the full review, which you'll be able to see after this video. So yeah, as we spoke about earlier, the seats. Now of course, because this car's got the fighter jet grey paintwork along with the optional extra of the appearance pack, you also get this, the orange stitch across both the front seats. Now these seats, although the Recaros arguably look better, these are absolutely sublime. They're so comfortable, and since I've been driving this every day to work and back, and of course enjoying the B road here or there, these seats have been absolutely lovely. Very comfortable. Yes, you could argue they're not as supportive as maybe the Recaro seat, which I haven't experienced of course, but for the fact that the Recaro seats are another £1,900, I'd argue that, yeah, unless you're doing heavy track work, I would take these seats over them. Now, these actually have a heated function as well as air conditioned. Yes, if you look here, you can go to the heated function and air conditioned function. Now, from experience, the air conditioned function is awesome because we've had some fairly decent weather this weekend, but all I can describe it is as you've wet your pants. It's a funny sensation that you get when they are blaring out cold on your bottom. Interior. Now, unfortunately, the interior hasn't really had the same treatment as the exterior has, because it's pretty much identical to a standard GT. Now, as you can see there, I've done a crime. Yeah, I've got an auto. So this car has the 10-speed auto transmission box, which means, yeah, it spoiled the car a bit. I wouldn't say it spoiled it entirely, but yeah, the transmissions definitely let this car down. Now, Ford do claim that they've tweaked the gearbox to make it a little bit more better for this application, but yeah, as you'll find out in the full review, it isn't as great as they make it out to be. Now, it's not the worst experience in terms of transmissions that auto transmissions that I've ever used, but yeah, for this car it does it spoils it. It does spoil it. So yeah, if you're looking at buying one of these, I would urge you to get the manual. And when you do get the manual, you get a cue ball that you find in the Mustang Bullet. I'll try and find it and put it up now. Of course, you get the Mach 1 chassis plate, unique to this car, of course, because it is a Mach 1. There you go, you can see it there, and that's the chassis number. Now, these cars are, of course, limited, but they're not like the Fiesta ST edition and the Focus ST edition that you've seen on the channel, where they only made a small number of them. These you can actually still configure and buy on the Ford UK website. So yeah, if you're going to buy one, go and do it now. I urge you to. Just make sure it's a manual. Now, there's a few things that bug me in here. Now, the interior, I do agree, is on, I wouldn't say the bland side. I've been in a lot older Mustangs. I think I was in a 2008-ish Mustang, a Shelby one. And if you got into that and then got into this, you'd be like, wow, the interior is miles better. But there are a few things. There's the GoPro, that's what I used to film, Hero 9. great GoPro. Yeah, some of the materials are on the NAF side. Now you've got some squidgy leather bits here. It's questionable, like aluminium or aluminum, if anyone from America's watching. Trim here, and then you get to this glove box, which is hard plastic, and then this button that looks like it's come off a Boeing aeroplane. It looks very cheap. Excuse the mess in there. Yeah, it's a little bit disappointing because, again, the price of this car, comparison to its rivals, which I can testify, yeah, this isn't the best of interiors. It isn't. But again, it isn't so important because this car will be used for weekends, and I don't really think when you get in this car and drive it, you're going to be focused too much on the interior. Now, one thing that does annoy me as such is that, if I can get it to work, yeah, there you go, there's the pony. Whee, look at it galloping majestically. Is that this has the sync-free system, which by today's standards is a bit old now. There's the climate. Yeah, it is a bit old now because by this time Ford have released Sync 4, which is a much better infotainment system overall. I've not actually experienced it, but by looking at it, it does look a lot more up to date. One other thing that annoys me is that these, now they look nice and they really do suit the car. It's quite cool, but you'd think that these toggle switches can go up and down, but they don't go down. And what's more annoying is not only do they not go down, this is the only real way that you can control and select your drive modes. Unlike the Focus and the Fiestas now, you can actually toggle on the steering wheel. You can't in this, you can only toggle it from here. And as I said, annoyingly, you can't toggle down. So if you go past your drive modes, you've got to cycle all the way through to find it again. And it's sort of taken away your engagement from what's ahead of you. Despite that, I do like it, I really do. The layout's nice. Now, there isn't actually that many buttons. The buttons are just here. Unfortunately, doing certain things is a faff because most of it you have to do through the steering wheel. So you can see there's a Mustang button, and that allows you to do most of your performance stuff. Actually, you know what? Let's go on to the other side. I don't even know why I've come in on this side. So yeah, let's go over to the driver's side. Oh, I've left the key in my pocket and it's beeping at me telling me to don't leave me. So let's jump in the traditional Ford bing, 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 bing. Right, so here we are. Let's actually start the car up so we can hear it. There we go. Whoa, very nice, I like. So yeah, the steering wheel is a little bit on the messy side. There's a lot here as such. So we've got the cruise control, that's standard. There's a lot of standard equipment on this car. Again, we've got a heat steering wheel as well, which is very nice. So yeah, you do a lot of your control through here. So this is your like general settings. So you can go into the trip computer where you can see all your average fuel consumption. For a laugh, let's show you what I'm getting. So there you go. I'm getting 17.8 miles to the gallon. Yes, and I've got 212 miles of range left. Oh, I tell you, I definitely do miss my Fiesta ST, that's for certain. It's also got a lot of driver assistance stuff. Of course, in this day and age, cars do have a lot of safety stuff. Now, oh, excuse me, a bit of a voice crack. You do get pre-collision assist. So when I first had this car, it was very sensitive. I think it was on high, and it was pretty much if you were a mile back from a car, it then ping up saying, get away from them, which was very annoying. Now, apart from that, there isn't much. Believe it or not, there is no start-stop in here, which would be criminal for a Mustang to have. You obviously got your speedo that you can change to kilometers an hour, and then the usual general settings. So now if I go into the Mustang button, click that there, it then takes you to your more performance-based side of the car. So my mode is basically individual mode, which is awesome. It's awesome to have here because on other Ford products you don't get this. So basically this car amongst things, has a magnetic ride, so you can adjust your ride firmness depending on where you are. So if you're on normal roads or you're on a track, you can adjust it to suit. So my mode basically allows you to control different parameters of the car and set it up to how you like. So at the minute, it's in normal mode, so it's telling me basically everything's in normal apart from the steering. Weirdly is in sport. Don't know why that is. So I'm going to put it into what's going on here? Oh no. Basically, so that's allowing me to change certain things on the car. So we need to back out of this somehow. There's so many things on this car. Let's go back to gauges. So gauges is basically the performance side. So you can see your brake and your acceleration in G. I don't know what any of that means. You've got differential temperature and engine temperature, and then you've got lots of other stuff that you generally see in NA cars. Now I'm gonna do what's it doing? Oh my god. Right, it's not letting me put it into. Oh, there we go. So it's got my mode there, so it comes up with a pony. I don't know why it does that, but yeah. So let's go into my mode now, show status, and as you can see, I've got everything on the max. Of course, you can put stuff in race, but then it starts turning traction control off and stuff, and I don't really want to be another statistic and another meme to the Mustang culture. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I really do like that, and it's a shame that we don't see this in other Ford products. Now, one criticism I have generally on other Ford products like the Fiesta and stuff is the steering feel, and to be quite happy, it's not the case in this. The steering is very solid. It feels very mechanical, even though it's electrically assisted. So that's really cool. I like that, I really do. So thumbs up to Ford there. So as I said earlier, with the exterior, a lot of the inspiration of this car has basically been from the Shelby GT350 and GT500 Mustangs in the States, and basically Ford have just gone mad in their parts bins and taken everything they can, and that's no bad thing, because this car is definitely transformed over a standard GT. So yeah, now we're in exhaust mode. So as you can see from my mode earlier, the exhaust is currently in sport. Now I don't know if you can hear on camera too well the exhaust tone at the minute. So as you can see, if you can focus, I'm going to put it in quiet, and to me, you don't get the idling, like deep tone as you do in sport when it's in quiet. Yeah, it's very hard to pick up on camera, I'd imagine. And then lastly, I'll show you track apps as well. So yeah, there's loads of stuff in here. So actually, I don't even need draggy in here. I can just use this. So you've got acceleration timer, so it allows you to do your quarter miles, 0 to 30. I don't know why anyone would do that. 0 to 60 is more important. 0 to 60 in this car is, I think, don't quote me, 4.4 seconds, which is ridiculous, and I think that's because we've got the 10-speed auto. Manual is a bit more. I think it's 4.6. If I'm wrong, I will correct myself in post edit. Again, we've got brake performance, so if you want to try and get yourself through the windscreen, you can, and Ford will oblige by telling you how quickly you can do that. Line lock. Now this is an interesting one. So line lock basically engages the front brakes and allows you to pin the throttle all the way, so basically full throttle, and you will do basically dirty burnouts and create clouds of smoke. The idea behind it is if you're on a drag strip and you want to warm your tyres up, that's the way to do it. Now, out of courtesy for Ford UK, and I've had a few people message me about saying don't do it, because in the past Ford have not been very impressed with people doing it to these cars, because it makes it a nightmare to clean the arches, because the rubber melts onto them and yeah, it just sticks and doesn't come out. So I'm not going to do it out of respect. Plus I'm not a child, I'm an adult, so I don't need to demonstrate that. So yeah, that's line lock. Lap timer, of course. It's weird because in here yeah, I'm not too sure what this actually does. So it's not like an aim solo, if you don't know what that is. It's basically a race timer, and it picks up by GPS the circuit that you're on. I don't think this does that. It just basically, you have to time yourself from the start line to the finish line manually by pressing OK on here. Then you've got my colour. It's pretty cool, so you can change all the different colours around the car. So there's some lights around here somewhere. I haven't actually really driven this at night because we're getting longer days. I haven't really been able to see that for myself. But yeah, there is a lot to play around in this car. And as I said, yeah, you get a lot of standard equipment. Now, before we finish off this walk around, let's go and have a look at the engine. I did promise you guys that would be the last thing, so let's do it. Actually, before we do, what do you guys reckon to the rear seats of this thing? Yeah, I don't see the point why they even bothered putting them in there. Especially for this car, they should have probably made it like a little bit more special, like club sport themed. I think that you get on the GT500 or the GT350 where they don't have rear seats, because yeah, that's the room, that's the passenger room anyway, there. You do get ISOFIX points, so if you want to torture your little young child, you can. Yeah, I'll leave that because I'm trying to film at the same time. Oh, there we go, it's telling me again to stop being an idiot and turn off the car, which I'll do, because yeah, fuel's like the price of gold at the minute, or gold's probably cheaper at this moment in time. So yeah, let's show you the engine last but not least. Now this engine catch is annoying, so I may have to come back again. There we go, I got it. Now, considering that this car is £61,000, you have to manually prop the bonnet open. No gas struts here, which is very annoying. So yeah, there are some actual changes here, including this massive induction kit. Yes, it's now open as opposed to closed in the standard GT, I think. Ford say that this is a change, so I assume on the standard GT it was closed. Now, for a size comparison, oh, that's my hand, and that is massive, huge. Now, as I said earlier, there are a few things that are hidden within this that are changed. So it's got the differential cooler from one of the Mustangs stateside, whether it's the GT350 or the 500, I don't know. It's also got an oil cooler, and it's got a differential as standard, a Torsen differential. Yeah, there's so many things with this car. Engine changes. They've of course changed the throttle body, so the throttle body is much bigger. There's a different intake manifold as well, and lastly they've tweaked the ECU for another whopping 11 horsepower. Yes, it's not much, and that's because this is an NA car, no supercharger. Although I would have loved the supercharger. Oh, could you imagine that? Oh, superchargers, I have a soft spot for them. So yeah, as you all know, extracting power out of NAs isn't the most easy of processes. That's why people tend to go absolutely mad and put big turbos and superchargers on things, because that's how you get power pretty easily. And with this big V8, I'm sure it's a breeze to do. And that is pretty much it. Of course, as I said earlier, you get the big tribute to the original Mach 1. It's crazy to think that there hasn't been a Mach 1 for over 5 decades. I think there was a few back in the early 2000s, but they weren't really proper Mach 1s. And yeah, that's the whole point of this car. It isn't just a standard GT that just has a few things splashed onto it, like Mach 1 badges, as you can see everywhere in a stripe. There are a few big changes. Well, I wouldn't say a few, there's quite a lot that makes this car special. So to briefly go over, a Mach 1 is a successor to a standard GT, and the brief is to make it not only better looking, it's to make it handle better and go a bit faster. And all those three things, in my opinion, have been ticked. But yeah, that is it, guys. Hey, oh, my hand's in the way. There we go. yeah, that is it for the walk around of this magnificent machine. I hope you've enjoyed it. If I've missed anything out, please shoot in the comments down below and I'll hopefully answer them. What do you think of this car, guys? I just think it's amazing, really do. There's just something about a Mustang that just makes everything in your body tingle. Yes, I'm doing a James May. But yeah, honestly, without you guys, I don't know how else I would have got something like this to play with. Yeah. And sadly, we're Sunday the 1st of May. I've just filmed the full review as well. Thought I'd do a full review, a walk around here as well. If you haven't guessed already, you should know where I am. And yeah, just I don't know what to say. I just very emotional. I don't really get too emotional, but yeah, it's been a hard graft on this channel, and I know I haven't been the most consistent creator ever, but yeah, I just like filming cars. It's my passion, I really do. And although I'm sometimes a little bit critical of cars, it's only my honest opinion, and I'm not going to sit here and be overly positive about a car that I don't like. I like this car, so don't worry. But yeah, just in general, because I have had a few people down the grapevine telling me a little bit of some things. Yeah, I won't go into too much detail, but yeah, it's annoyed me a bit because yeah, I'm not going to sit here selling cars to, well, not selling cars literally, but reviewing cars that people will potentially buy, and then when they go and buy them based on my merit and other people's, and then come back to me and go, well, that's not right what you said, it's actually not that good, or it's better than what you said, or whatever it is. Yeah, it's a bit disappointing, but anyway, I'm waffling on now. This is actually a half an hour walk around, which is crazy. As I said, does that warrant the 11 grand difference? Well, by the length of this video, that should tell you a little bit more, because there is a lot of changes on this car. But yeah, very impressed with it so far. Don't want to give it back, and yeah, it's the same old thing, isn't it? But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, also comment down on what you think of the Mach 1, and what would you rather have? Would you have one of these, or would you have something like a TTRS? And as I said at the beginning of this video, make sure you head over to those two car guys, where I'll be finding out a little bit more whether I would still have one of these, or would it be the German rival, the big Audi TTRS. So yeah, until then, see you all next time. Goodbye.